A new leaf in foreign policy. Had the old Russian Empire been confronted with the Finland question, there is no doubt that Russian troops would have fought their way towards Helsinki. Imperial thought simply did not heed the interests of other peoples or other countries and saw imperial interests above all. Yet, yesterday, history was made. Despite our differences with the Finns and the belligerent demeanor of Wallenius's ultranationalist government, despite troops being readied at both sides of the border, diplomacy has prevailed. Russian negotiators have managed to convey the vital importance of the security of Petrograd in the light of encroachments from both the Third International and the Reichspakt into Scandinavia, and the threat a closed Baltic Sea would pose to Russian interests. Meanwhile, Finnish negotiators have insisted on the fierce national spirit present and the inviolability of territorial integrity of the Finnish lands. In the end, an agreement was formed, one which the Russian military certainly wasn't in favor of, since it sets in stone a path where we must put our faith in others for our national security in the future, but at the same time, this agreement pulls Russia out of its isolation and brings the Moscow Accord forward as an alliance not of domination by a leading entity against its vassals, as is the case with the Reichspakt, but as a liberal democratic group of like-minded countries, guaranteeing each other's independence, yet stable and removed from the revolutionary excesses of the syndicalists. Time will tell if more countries will join us under this banner. So we'll see if we can wrest more countries in Europe out of the clutches of the Reichspakt and the Third International and potentially bring them in line with the Moscow Accord. Certainly, there might be a few that we can, especially around the oil-rich Caucasus republics, that we can do this with. Anyway, we have military action to observe, and right now we are, in China. We're very stuck. The Chinese lines after the massive losses don't look too stable. And it's entirely possible that the Japanese are pushing through, so we're sort of poised here for a potential counterattack and to cut off the Japanese advances. We're making as quick as we can of a progress in the US and in Sicily. Yeah, we're just defending, really. So we will see how the lines are going. Rome is under attack, actually, and actually, no, that's still part of Latium. Rome is still one province away from being under direct threat, but still, we will see. The northern forces are certainly now getting more powerful, so that's where we're going to have to do something. But the active front is the American front, so that's where we're going to continue, where we are about to liberate Madison, and then we'll drive forward into Chicago. We'll see how the enemy troops are reorganizing here, but we do need to bring some fuel and equipment forward such that the 5th can actually actively operate. And for that, we need to get Milwaukee connected, which is still under works. So for now, we are pushing out the 1st Indiana Red Guard out of Madison, and that once that's done, the 4th is holding the line in the south. Then we'll consolidate until the Milwaukee situation has been resolved, and then we can continue onwards. Northern flank is cut off, and there we go. So front lines have been consolidated, which means we can and should reduce the exposure in the north, because we do want to maintain our position southwards. And now, Chicago is open, so we're simply in expectation of fuel and ammunition going to begin advancing immediately south, while the rest of the troops here is occupied otherwise. In China, there is currently a significant counterattack from all sides happening now against our positions. Especially the enemy aerial superiority is a problem. So it's unclear if we can actually maintain this position. We will see. We'll defend in the foothills and see if we can hold here. But I think holding is all we're going to be doing for the time being, and letting them attack. All right, advances towards Chicago are progressing. We're going to take the airport and secure the western approach against any potential counterattack. And meanwhile, the 5th is going to roll into Chicago. And with that, the monarchy has been restored in Greece. That is interesting because Greece is potentially one of the countries that we might be trying to get to join us if this diplomatic situation comes to it. After weeks of deliberation, the Greek government has decided to give the crown to King Georgios II, not to Alexandros I, who is still alive, but who many feel should have always been the proper heir as Alexandros' older brother, and who never received the crown in the first place due to his exile following the Weltkrieg. While there are lingering doubts as to his legitimacy the government has assured the people that this fixes an error which has been made long before. The king spoke to a massive cheering crowd in Athens after returning for the first time in many years, saying that Greece has finally returned to the path it was meant to be on and vowed to work tirelessly to rebuild the country. That is indeed interesting. Are they following a similar path? Potentially. They are they have a king and a conservative government. But at the same time, they have a fairly large share, actually, of social liberal, which we are ideologically more aligned with. But then ideological alignment is not a requirement. Finland has an ultranationalist government. At the same time, we can maintain cordial and even friendly relations with them. So it's not an ideologically driven position. All right, so we are, I think we are, again, under red air, I think we are able to hopefully defeat the attacks. Yeah, it should not be a problem. In China, yes, counterattacks still running. We're looking for an opportunity to push south, but I think all the I think it's just way too many of them. So let's focus on the states for now, where we have the 3rd has made its way has made its way close to Chicago and securing the railroads in the west, and the 5th is still on the move. And Mexico has taken Guatemala, which is nobody's great surprise. All right, 4th has defeated the attack and can immediately begin to counterattack and push south. We're probably going to be looking. What are the further supply position? St. Louis. Yeah, St. Louis is of interest. So once we're holding Chicago, we can maybe push south through Springfield towards St. Louis. And see if we can collapse the whole cauldron here, which probably would spell the end of the syndicalists in the States. But we shall have to see how that looks. I am keeping an eye on the situation in China as well as in Sicily to see if there's an opportunity for a counterattack potentially. But I think there are just way too many troops here, and we're just going to be defending for the time being. So here we are making our way. We'll see if we can take Chicago. We have encountered resistance, so we'll wait for the 5th Pittsburgh Red Guard to complete running into our tanks, which are at this point relatively short on supply. How is the situation? Yeah, Milwaukee still hasn't been connected. It's still going to be 5 days estimate from the engineers until the railway lines are completed. So we are simply going to let them exhaust themselves in the attack against our armored forces, and then we are going to push the exhausted defenders, the 5th Pittsburghs, out of Chicago using the 3rd, which we have now available on the other side. Here we're still holding, and the attack still hasn't subsided. It's entirely possible that this is going to become a continuous attack, and we're simply going to we're relatively well dug in here, but I think the entrenchment is not yet there. So the troops haven't had time to entrench themselves, which of course is a bit of a problem, but we'll deal with it eventually. Okay, we have supply now, so We can, while the fourth is clearing the flanks, we can potentially even manage to just try and encircle the yeah, why not? Let's see if we can manage to encircle the 5th Pittsburgh Red Guards, because we are getting friendly infantry to backfill, and with that we actually no, they have brought reinforcements, the All Illinois Division. So in that case, well, we'll see if we can fight through them. But I think we'll see how it goes. Anyway, improved armor protection is done, which means our tank MIO can have another item, 5% hardness or plus 0.5 entrenchment. I mean, we can get both eventually. It's just which one do we want first. Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna grab the hardness then. So that's done. And what are we up against? We do still have, I think, the research debuff. Yeah, for how long do we still have the flight of the German capital? November. So that's actually not that long anymore. And that means we can potentially start looking at, this is still ahead of time, this is already underway. Start looking at electronics reasonably soon, and or we might get the engineers underway. Simply, this is going to give us additional entrenchment for the engineer companies. So yeah, we'll get that underway. I'd like to be on top, at least with the engineers. Actually, we do need to get the field hospitals going as well. Let's do that first, because just so we have that out of the way. And we will just use the, which one are we going to use? Could use the infantry equipment, although I don't think that's the one we are using. I don't think that's the one we're using for the rifles, is it? That's just for the support equipment. Which one are we using for trucks and eventually, that is the LAZ. So maybe we can do that one. Not this. Yeah, this one. The heavy mechanized equipment. Yeah, because they are using that for field hospitals. So okay, so that's done. Get that underway, and we will see if we can make if the third can push through Gary, and but it looks like they are putting up some fierce resistance. We'll see if we can encircle the 5th Pittsburgh in Chicago. That slows us down a little bit, while the 4th is coming under fierce counterattacks here. So they're probably going to have to dig in and wait for the infantry to catch up. And we have some units ready for deployment. Because we haven't set the location, that's why. Let's deploy here. All right. So yeah, deploy these units, and that's done. So we do have some infantry coming out near Moscow that we can begin, and we have one of the mountain divisions. We'll sort that out at a later stage. I just want to spread them out a little bit, so they should be on the European theater. And we'll simply just create a new army for now and get them to spread out a little bit, so as such that they're not all sitting in one place to consume the supply. Okay. Yeah, let's see if this is actually going to work out, because we now have the 2nd Indian Head Division actually pushing Chicago. But we have completed the national focus of getting the Caucasian countries closer to us. So now we should have a few decisions available. Yes, we could invite Azerbaijan or Georgia to join, or we could start invading Azerbaijan or Georgia. But that's not what we're doing here, really. We are trying to forge more of an alliance with the Moscow Accord. So, and while the Azerbaijan is rich in oil, which would help, obviously, the Germans have their clause on that. So if we can get that removed, that'll be a big downside for the German war machine. So we're definitely inviting the two of them and see if we can get them to join the Moscow Accord. And that puts us, we could still do the Belgrade one, but I think we're not under a massive time pressure at this point. I think it's coming, where are we with the, we've got 74 days until the next one. We are having we'll have a decent political power, situation at this point. We are going to have to reduce the anger at some point a little bit, but I think science to victory would be, let's get that underway. It's one that I have wanted to do for a while, and it's currently not urgent to do anything else. So let's do that. All right, back to, let's actually have a quick look around. We are still, if we can even hold, we're struggling even to hold this position at this point. So I think we're not making any aggressive moves here. And in Sicily, we're just recovering from the enemy attacks. So neither of these positions is suited for any kind of offensive action, which means we are going to, for now, see if we can manage to finally push push the All Illinois out. The problem is that this division is actually relatively capable. They have guns which are able to the horror of our tank drivers, for the first time, challenge the BT-7's armor. In fact, it's most likely Georgia has accepted. Excellent. It's most likely their light anti-aircraft gun, and Azerbaijan has accepted as well. So it's most likely the anti-aircraft guns, because something is happening here. Not sure what's... Oh, the two Sicilies transport is an inefficient contract. That's fine. It's most likely the anti-aircraft guns, because they are... if they're using it in a creative manner, they can actually start doing damage to our tanks, which is a bit of a wake-up call, really. So... how is our production looking? We are slowly building up the factory count, but I think we're going to be stop building the BT-7s at this point. So I think this is the time, as these field reports are coming in, this is the time to begin designing ourselves a new tank. And we are going to start off with the T-100 chassis and see what kind of tank we can build. Now, we do have, from the special projects, and we're very close to land, to having another breakthrough on the land position when we can start a big artillery triplex. But we have completed the flame tanks here. So that is something that we can definitely begin designing, actually. So let's start with actually designing a flamethrower tank based on the T-100 chassis. So let's see what, I'm going to bore you with the details, but I'm going to figure out what that's going to look like. All right, here we have the relatively simple design of the KHT-100, the first prototype for a flamethrower tank. We do have a diesel engine, because really we don't need the speed. This is going to be an infantry tank and an infantry support tank. We're going to have welded armor, Christie suspension, and a fixed superstructure, because it's cheaper and it's way more reliable, which what we currently have to work with, and a flamethrower on it. That keeps the price, the production cost, somewhat in check. And yes, this is expensive because it's a new design. We can sort of build on that, I think, going forward as well, when we start building the actual tank, the actual heavy tanks out. So we can start with the production of that thing. And we are actually going to... I could change the whole BT-7 line, but we're still fighting with these, so I don't want to completely remove that. So we are actually just going to begin building up a... we're going to probably get about 10 factories on these for starters. We're going to start building that up as we fall through, and I think we are going to actually reduce the factories on the BT-7s down to let's get them down to 4 for now, and that means obviously we need to juggle a little bit here. Okay, so we get that to 5. That's 5 factories for now. They need 10 overall. And there we go. So we've got 5 factories on fighters, which means we are going to have to start importing rubber. We've got 2 out of 10 on the basic flame tank, so we're slowly starting to build up the production efficiency on these. And we do need to start trading for rubber. So let's see who we can best trade with, who is not... Kingdom of Siam is probably the best choice that we have here for now, in terms of rubber. But this highlights once again that we actually need to build up our strategic rubber production with some urgency. All right, so we're about to break through at Gary. Are we still holding? Yeah, we're still holding on, but barely. And the Sicilian troops are beginning to, I think are beginning to recover. So we're building again up preparations for another assault, but they're not yet ready. So I will keep fighting here. And this was the first Russian heavy tank. Many more of which there are to come. And now we can. Now we should be having these encircled. Technically, I don't think they can escape from there. And we're just going to defend here in Gary. That should be sufficient. And with that, we have... Where did my other tank division go? Oh, there it is. Okay, with that, we should be taking Chicago relatively soon, which means that the 4th can already slowly begin the push to clearing the lines towards St. Louis, which is going to be the next strategic target as the infantry is joining in. And we'll leave the cleanup in the north to the friendly troops at this point, because it's really... No good reason to do otherwise. We also have the lines completely open in the east, so we may be able to break out further. But we'll just secure the lines here until this is a little bit until this is a little bit cleared up. But things apparently have gone very, very poorly at home. Emperor Kirill's health deteriorated drastically this year due to his arteriosclerosis, a consequence of wounds he received in the Battle of Port Arthur in 1904. Days ago, he suffered the worst heart attack of his life to date and was hurried into the Moscow main military hospital. He did not recover and died today. A great many people gathered in churches to mourn Kirill, and a great state funeral is expected to be arranged. Despite the grief, many eyes are now turned towards the only 21-year-old Emperor Vladimir III, who is to be coronated soon. If Kirill Alexandrovich was a more stern, fatherly and regal figure, more of your traditional Russian emperor, Vladimir Kirillovich, is quite different. Vladimir is easily younger than any of his ministers or generals, yet towers over them in prestige. While one must admit that Vladimir is not particularly charismatic, he does have the charm of a farmer boy and is modest and insightful. He is very much a child of the Republic, having been born in that fateful year of 1917, and has lived through the ups and downs of the Republic, culminating in seeing firsthand the terror unleashed by Savinkov's regime. Vladimir has served in the army, is fluent in 5 languages, and has studied law, business and agriculture. He was very much raised as the last hope for the Russian monarchy, raised to excel at the emperor's duties, and a great many depend on him as dark clouds are gathering over Russia's future. Kirill I dies, which of course has besides the fact that, the emperor died, has a slightly negative effect, because we can't use the 33% discount on political advisors anymore. That, I believe, is now gone. So, no, it's still there. Oh, he inherits it. Okay. All right, that works. Actually, he inherits a fair few things here. Let's see. So, political power gain plus stability, Imperial Advisory Council, patron of arts and sciences, and symbol of the nation. So, he inherits all the things. So, that's great. That means we are having a new emperor, Vladimir III, who is, we had Kirill in order to sort of unite the country and bring them together under a symbol. but the country has become stable. We have a comfortable liberal majority in the parliament, and we have a working but relatively fractured opposition. The far right has been sort of marginalized, so has the far left, and so syndicalism, radical socialism, national populism, authoritarians have all been somewhat marginalized, and we have a very, I would say, market social left liberal coalition at the moment. And that's having a younger face at the head of this is probably not a bad thing. Now, this just because they're marginalized doesn't mean that Russia is not including these. These voices will be heard. And if the next elections in 1941 are changing things, then that's democracy. But for now we have a new emperor. So all hail Vladimir, emperor of Russia. And here we go again. Sorry. Yeah, no. Vladimir is a very common name in Russia, right? Many people are named Vladimir. Okay, we may have an opportunity in Italy. Let us immediately counterattack here, because it looks like after banging their heads against the defenses, they have pulled everything except for the 4th Infantry and the 3rd Socialist Division from this line. So if we can break through here, then we could. Have they landed? Have they done? They have a. They've either broken through or done a naval landing. Actually, this is. I see why they're not having troops. They managed to break through along the eastern lines here. That's concerning. So we now have two options. We can either break through here and try to reach Ancona, which is potentially possible, but also fraught with dangers, or we can try to, and I think that is what we're going to have to do, unfortunately. We're going to have to rush back. We're going to have to rush back and see if we can cut off the enemy troops here and begin destroying some of them. As much as it pains me, and yeah, we are immediately getting counterattacks. So we're going to have to keep an eye on the Italian front, because that has suddenly become a lot more volatile than the others. All right, so we'll pause the advances in the Americas for now, because the Sicilian front has suddenly become very, very important. Yeah, we're going to have to fall back from this position, because the right flank has completely collapsed here, and they are under heavy bombardment from the Luftwaffe, suddenly breaking through in various positions here. 66 days. We can actually potentially throw in one of the economic decisions still, but two free military factories here as well still that we can throw in. But let's see. We're going to have to try and salvage the positions here in Italy, because that has the potential to completely collapse the front. But meanwhile, Pacific forces have been pushing towards the combined syndicates of America's temporary capital of Chicago for a while now. Reports are now coming in of the city's capture by advancing troops. John Silas Jack Reed's current whereabouts are unknown, but it is believed he has fled the city with militia units. Dang it, he escaped. Reports indicate that military police has begun rounding up and arresting potential agitators and important syndicalist figures, and that many fires are spreading unchecked through the city's high-rise districts, while Pacific forces struggle to establish order. They have moved. We'll see where the government will move to. Probably, I'm just missing it again. But people keep telling me in the comments when I miss where they went. But we are, I think, at this point going to concentrate our armored forces along the railway lines. No, I would like that to be. There we go. Along the railway lines. Going through Springfield, because that's going to be our next push. So we are going to need an offensive line with the goal of linking up at St. Louis, breaking through Springfield and encircling basically the bulk of the Syndicalist army. But I think the American war has been one of the few successes we've had recently. In China, things aren't going well. We're defending as we can, but the Japanese attacks are fierce, and the Chinese are on the back foot. And in Sicily, suddenly the situation has become extremely dire. So many things we do to do there. We're still doing naval training, I think, and we've got one submarine that can join here again. We're going to have to start organizing that a little bit more soon, but for now we'll just leave it as is. And do we have what's the air situation? We still can't deploy anything to Italy, but we can potentially. It's Moscow Air Base. Not really. No, we don't have anything yet. We're just building up fighter wings really at this point, and as little as there is. But we are at least now good on rubber. So where is it here? So the fighter production actually runs at full will run at full speed now, and we do have. Yeah, we can start converting some old tanks if they become available. So that's definitely on the cards. And the flame tanks are starting to very, very slowly build up. So that's that. All right, let's see if we can disengage here and manage to contain this breakthrough that they've made along the coast. I'm not sure if it was a naval landing behind the lines. It probably was, or if they have pushed south from Ancona. But that is something that we definitely need to deal with. So let's try to disengage from the front lines here and attempt to contain the enemy breakthrough. This could work out into our advantage if we can manage. But if we can manage to contain it, but it is obviously predicated on us actually disengaging, and that is easier. There we go. Easier said. I was about to say easier said than done. So for now, we're going to get the 60th and the 64th on the attack against Pescara, and we'll see if we can manage to break that. Meanwhile, in South America, the Peru-Bolivian Confederation has joined the Buenos Aires-Lima axis. So factions are forming. They have joined the Argentinians. Now, that's less than ideal. I was hoping for a confrontation to break the Argentinians, but alas, it was not to be. And we have a special project available. So yes, we are going to start the big artillery triplex. That would give us super heavy artillery, which I am in 203 millimeter howitzers, which I am very much in favor of. This is a new unit. I haven't seen that yet. So we will see. We will see what that'll look like. But this needs 2 points. Bugger. We could only do the military engineering vehicle. I'm not that interested in it. No, okay, we'll wait for another breakthrough point because I'm more keen on the artillery. So we'll have to just come back to that, unfortunately. All right, Sicily, where the situation requires our urgent attention. All right, let's see if we can. And I am actually going to, we do have a bit of planning bonus, so let's see if I can just pull the front line across, like that. All right. So we don't lose that, and then we will immediately attempt to push here. And Southern Rhodesia, okay, so South Africa now is at war as well. And is that something we need to get involved in? So the Republic of South Africa is not in any faction so far. They're mostly autocratic. And the Rhodesians, which are social liberals, have rebelled against them. They're this is close to the Reichspakt, so it may be of some interest to get involved with the Rhodesians and see if they can overthrow South Africa. That it's unclear if they are going to join the Reichspakt, but so far they seem to be more aligned with the Entente. But they certainly are not. The Southern Rhodesian case is one that we certainly support. However, we can't. Have I sent a diplomatic request? I'm pretty sure I haven't. But okay. Unless I clicked something by accident. We'll see if we can support. It's a secondary theater for sure. More importantly right now is the situation here. And we do obviously have to wait for our... Okay, actually they are making progress without us. So we can now begin... we can probably just begin launching the assault here. Where's the railway connection going? There actually, yeah. So we are going to need... we're going to need to secure these lines, so let's begin moving ahead. And in Sicily, we are getting close to joining the assault on Pescara. Meanwhile, the Germans are demanding compensation. German Foreign Office and representatives of German business interests were outraged at our blatant breach of international laws and trade. Have we finished another? No, not. Where is it? No, not quite. So that's just the random things. Outraged at our blatant breach of international law and trade, but ultimately understood that Germany has only limited amount of means to counter us. They adopted a more pragmatic or perhaps more profit-seeking stance at negotiation. If the Russian government is willing to compensate for unjustly caused economic damages, Germany will also maintain a gentlemanly attitude and refrain from economic sanctions, which would only hurt both sides. Let's see. So we are now having a sanctions mechanic. Where is that going to be? Is it... I would have thought it'd be part of the stranglehold, but it doesn't seem to be. All right, so what is it? They get 1 sanctions point. Sanction points can be used to leverage German economic muscle to enact consequences against the Russian government. Or we lose 30 political power and compensate the Germans. I am in need of political power. So no, we're not. We are trying to disentangle ourselves from the economic connections with the German Empire, from the tendrils that are sucking the economic lifeblood out of the Russian Empire. And of course, sort of left liberal or not, the military still obviously has revanchist schemes. And we're just packaging that differently, because previously it would have been for the glory of the empire. Now it is to liberate the Eastern European vassal states from the yoke of the German domination. So no deal with the Prussian. Let them come. Let's see what they come up with. Can we now? No, we can't send. We can't send any volunteers at this point. I'm pretty sure I clicked on something by accident. Anyway, back to Italy, where we are now actually getting engaged in a defensive battle. And yes, the third Boer War, or Boer War, this is a Dutch word probably, still can't do it, has begun. So, I don't give Southern Rhodesia much of a chance here, but we will see how it turns out. All right. We're going to have to defend here first, so it's time to have a quick look at the states where we are making progress, and in China where we are getting very, very aggressively assaulted from all sides, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to hold this position. But here we have to get ready for the counterattack once the assault is defeated. And that should not be a massive problem. So we're in reserve here. So that's that. German sanctions hit the forestry sector. Some of the main Russian exports to Middle Europa are paper and lumber. To hurt our exports, Germany has put an embargo in place on the forestry sector. So that's unfortunate. 140 days. Okay, so the trade sanctions are definitely biting, I can tell. But at least we preserve the political power that we need for that we need for various internal decisions. We could, let's see what we got. We have a few. We have a few railway upgrades that we could do. That's a. We do have to do we have to deal with the Cossacks eventually, but all of that. Yeah, we've got the railway upgrades, but actually, other than that, we don't have an awful lot of really urgent, economic programs here. There are two free military factories. There's oil production, which is also pretty essential now that we're starting to build tanks everywhere. So these are pretty essential still, but we are running a little low on manpower, and we still have a lot of things. We will have a theorist available pretty soon, and I think it's the firepower proponent, which is a 15% land doctrine discount, which is great. And he's all about artillery. The other one is more about tanks, but I like the science of victory better in just as a manner of fitting for the new Russian Empire. So that's what we're going with. Is it ideal? Maybe not. Am I going to do it anyway? Yes. All right. So let's focus the spearhead and continue the assault along the lines. I think we're just going to straight up continue along the lines here, and we're going to get all tank divisions engaged, and we'll be using the momentum here in Sicily. We are still defending. We probably can get ready for a counterattack here, and the task would be to cut off 5 divisions by retaking Pescara, but that is a tall order, so we'll see how that goes. And here we are just going to use the momentum to keep securing the lines and getting close to St. Louis, really. So let's push ahead, let's forge ahead as we go. We've got 2 tank divisions engaged against Springfield in the assault now. In Sicily, still defending. In China, still defending. And trying to dig in against the Japanese assaults, but it's getting increasingly difficult. But we'll keep trying. So focus here, and we will see if we can manage an advance and take St. Louis. That would be a major benefit. Mexico is still fighting against Yucatan this time, and we're extending a bit, but we are getting friendly cavalry to backfill the positions here, so that's not so much of an issue. So here, once we are through. And now we're getting counterattacked immediately, but once we're through, then we can, I think here now, fight the exhausted and desperate Golden Torch Division on the approaches to St. Louis. Now this is going to be difficult because it's a river crossing, so we may have to work to actually surround St. Louis and launch attacks from multiple sides. But that is going to be a massive cauldron in the States. In Sicily, we're still defending against the significant attacks from all sides. And so, same story in China. So we're going to stick with the States, where we currently have the only mobile battles happening. And then once, we just have to keep an eye. Oh, Stefan has been wounded. That is unfortunate. We'll keep an eye on things at times. All right. Southern Rhodesia has actually joined the Entente. Oh, that's interesting. So the Entente is set to take over South Africa. Well, in that case, we're not going to get involved. Because while we are in support of their social liberal ideas, we're certainly not. Well, they've picked their side. Let me put it that way. And we're pretty much neutral towards the Entente. They're having a revanchist approach towards Europe. So there we're going to go up against the Third International, which may assist the Reichspakt. So That said, we're also not in favor of a massive world revolution, ultra syndicalist Europe. So it's a careful balancing act here, really, of everything. All right, Sicily. We are in the counterattack. But I have the feeling that that's not going to happen. So we might have to, unfortunately, don't really have an alternative than breaking this line here, because I don't see where else we could break them. We could try in the north. That would be I don't see us getting through this. This is both is hilly terrain. We could try in the north. But that would be a river crossing. We're not breaking through here, so let's see if we can break this line instead. They are extending. They're extending their reach here quite significantly. But I think these troops here are way more exhausted, so I think we can manage to break through, cut them off from their supply, maybe. This is unfortunately across the river. So it's less than ideal. So the problem is, by the time we've made it up north, we're not going to be able to. They'll have dug in by then. So we're not going to be able to break them either if we manage to break our way north. That said, this attack is starting to look better now as well. So we'll defend, and then we'll do the original plan, because they have moved troops eastwards. And now we are counter-attacking immediately. We may have to use one of the divisions to pin defenders north, but I think we concentrate our firepower here and try to push the exhausted defenders out of Pescara. In the States, we are at the borders of St. Louis, but I currently can't really. We have an opportunity here to. That's going to be defended by the time we get there. We do need to get across. We do need to push further south first. Okay, we'll let these divisions consolidate their position for now, and wait for infantry to catch up, and then we will concentrate on. We'll definitely concentrate here. So we'll try to swing around south and then go for St. Louis from there. Once the fifth has regained its organization, and once the fourth is in place, China just simply defending, and Sicily. Now this is critical, and we'll see if we can break through here. The question is, can we? And I think we can, because I might divert. Okay, no, we concentrate the firepower on Pescara, and I think we can make our way there before the reinforcements from the north are arriving. So, have we beaten them? I think we have. Now we just have to defeat the counterattack, and of course they've reinforced in the meantime. That's the problem. That we are now getting counterattacked on both sides. Paraguay was annexed. That is unfortunate. So given that Peru, Bolivia has joined Argentina, they are now dominating South America, actually. And that means, okay, we are going to go on the counterattack here and see if we can manage to get south of St. Louis. That should be possible with all three tank divisions. Sicily is where we, however, need to keep an eye on. So we're still desperately trying to break their lines here in Pescara and make our way through, but it is coming down to the wire, because once they have an opportunity to reinforce the lines, the problem is both mountain divisions are completely exhausted from weeks-long continuous fighting, and now the 64th had to stop the assaults and does need to regain some organization. But the 60th may have made it, and if that is the case, yes, we have made it through. Okay, immediately reinforce Pescara, because we cannot be pushed out from that position. So let's send the 64th, which had a little bit of time to. No, they're reinforcing from the north, but we are desperately throwing everything we have into this fight, trying to get both of the divisions both of the divisions to cut off all of these enemy troops. This is the pivotal battle for Italy. If we can win this battle, if we can win Pescara, then, or however you pronounce it, Pescara, then we can cut off a vast number of enemy troops in the south and potentially crack this front line. But it's a big if. So this is a pitched battle at knife's edge, really, which means I can't really take an awful lot of time at the moment. Why are we struggling so much against that single Golden Torch division? That one's been causing us grief to a degree, simply due to the fact that their anti-aircraft guns are pretty effective. We do have a decision available. We could fund the Lithuanian Activist Front. It's the main anti-German and nationalist group operating in the German puppet kingdom. We could funnel arms to them to ensure they are able to continue the fight against government forces. Why not? That sounds like a good operation to make. So let's send them some weapons. We're waiting for 50 political power. And honestly, I think we're almost ready. We might need 100, but I don't think we'll have the time for that. Let's see. We've got 42 days for this, and we're going to need 50 for the next decision. So we're not going to get enough. But we'll try to bank some political power in order to get a military theorist in. That would be great. Alternatively, we could try to throw... is there anybody who's improving political power? Let's have a quick look. That's population stability, consumer goods. That's great. That's 5% political power gain. That's not bad. And 8% research speed. These are all extremely powerful. Plus 8% defense against majors. Yeah, that works. What else do we have? That's 10% political power and compliance. I'm not too concerned about compliance. That's 5% political power and compliance. Construction and research would be grand. Minister of everything, construction factory output. And that is not useful right now. That's not really as useful either. And that is air superiority. Okay, that's all good. So I think 10% political power was the biggest I've seen somewhere. Yeah, we could get Zensinov for 10% political power gain. Or we could get Kartashiov for 5% and research speed. But I don't know, we're in November 1938. I think it's a little bit late for the sort of compassionate... What was it called? The silent workhorse style of minister. Instead, going for construction and research might also be good. There are some. I think there are no bad ones. There are some really, really good ones. Like all of these are great. However, we could get a theorist. I think the industrial concern is just simply too far away at this point. But we will see how that goes. Anyway, we're fighting here, but the real fight right now is in Pescara. So let's complete this and see if we can manage to... Oh, they're sending reinforcements again. We can manage to break this. Yes, we have. Can we now can we hold it? We've taken Pescara, but the 64th is under massive assault right now. We've got another division joining, but they are trying to break out in force. And of course, we've been pushed back again. It was so close, but we couldn't hold the city. Both mountain divisions have been pushed back, and unless we can make it back in time, which I doubt, then can we? No, we can't even send somebody to counterattack. Unless we can make it back in time, then the encirclement will be broken. No, the mountaineers are moving relatively quickly in this terrain, and they have made it back in time to Pescara. We're holding, and we have encircled a grand total of 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 divisions. In the end, the two glorious mountain divisions have persevered. They have, despite vicious German counterattacks and bombardment from the air, have managed to take and hold the vital coastal town of Pescara, and with that entrapped a large part of the enemy army. And I think that may have been the move that is winning the war in Italy, if it comes to that. So once now it obviously comes down to reducing these troops, but they are now obviously going to be running very low on supplies because they have no longer access to shipments coming in through Ancona. And with that, I think that has been a major tactical victory, and it comes down to the special forces, which have managed to move, despite being pushed out at first, have managed to move back down from the mountain ranges into the city at high speed due to their special training before enemy infantry could get there. And with that, I think we have a first major victory here in Italy. In the States, we are trying to fight our way through, we are running a little low on supply here. We're trying to fight our way through to St. Louis, but it is a hard fight indeed. And yeah, we are a bit at the edge of the supply line. So we'll see if we can manage to break through there. Otherwise, we might have to find a different way of doing this because, currently in the forests, we're fighting in the forests, which is terrible terrain for armored assaults. I think we'll stop this attack for now, and potentially just hit St. Louis directly. So let's concentrate here and see if we can get through anywhere and manage to close this encirclement, which would probably be breaking the back of the syndicalist armies as well. So that's two. The third one, China. We're not holding. I don't think we're holding this position. So I think at this point, the troops have. I think we're giving up this position. Where I'm going to. I think we're falling back to. There might have been an opportunity to break to the port, but the weight of the attacks of the combined Japanese Fengtian forces is simply too great at this point that it is becoming increasingly impossible to hold the lines here. Flight of the German capital has been removed, which is great. We have 50 political power, and we're going to be banking that a little bit. We are just when the nationalization of Rusgenecorp is done. Middle Europa trade sanctions until March 1939. That isn't great, but we're going to get through that, and but we're still building out. We're still building out pretty aggressively. So the buildup is continuing. And the production of the first heavy flame tanks have started rolling off the production lines. So that's an innovation that's coming. So all in all, it looks like the Republic of South Africa is going to fall and be taken over by a market liberal entente. Overall, the front lines are changing. We have some new members in the Moscow Accord, and maybe we can still convince Finland. We do have we'll work soon on potentially getting some members in the Balkans. Although the question of how much we can, it'll all depend. If we can get some of the Balkans country that we've assisted to join us, that would be great. But we will see how it goes. It'll all depends on if the Donau-Adria-Bund is going to join the war on any side, and if if the Balkans area is going to become a battlefield, at which point this would be an interesting thrust against the southern German flanks. If we can get some of the Belgrade Pact countries, or even just Greece, to join us, that would be a major favor, especially in case something like the Ottoman Empire is going to join on the old Central Powers line. Then we would have a second front against them, not just our own. So many lines are being drawn. South America is being reorganized. North America is going to come under the auspices potentially of the Pacific States of America, which is which is at least ideologically aligned with what we're doing. I don't know yet if they're going to be joining any faction, but they probably have a lot of reparation to do. So many things are happening, and we're inching ever closer to a major confrontation in Europe.